Hey, it's Trevor from Plateau Astro. By the end of this video, I want you to remember two names. First name is a mission called Artemis II, and the second name is the name of a man. His name is Jeremy Hansen. Let's start with Artemis II. So Artemis II is a mission that's going to fly around the moon in 2026, and on board there's going to be 4 astronauts. It's been a long time since we've sent humans towards the moon. It's been over 50 years. Back in 1972 was the last time that we did it. Since then, humans have been doing really cool stuff in space, but we've been doing it all in Earth orbit, really close to home. So here's how this mission is going to work. 4 astronauts are going to go up into space on this big orange rocket. We call this the SLS, or Space Launch System rocket. And they're going to lift off from this planet here. Specifically, they're going to launch from Florida in the United States. So the rocket is going to launch off into space, and parts of it will fall away, splashing down back into the ocean. And what they're going to be left with is this right here. This is the Orion spacecraft and the service module behind it. And what they're going to do is they're going to stay around the Earth for about a day, making sure that this Orion spacecraft, the capsule that they live in, is good to go. And after a day, after everything is good, they're going to head out towards deep space, towards the moon. Now let's see what this will look like in a scale model of the Earth and the moon. So this is a scale model of the Earth and the moon. This is the actual size of the Earth, and to scale how small the moon would be. And this is the true distance between the two. People are often surprised how far apart the Earth and the moon actually are. So after a day of orbiting the Earth and making sure the Orion capsule is all good to go, the 4 astronauts on the Artemis II mission are ready to go into deep space and head to the moon. So the astronauts will start heading towards the moon, and it'll take them about 3 days to get to the moon. And during that time, the Earth will start appearing smaller and smaller behind them as the moon starts appearing bigger and bigger through the window. Eventually, the astronauts will go around the far side of the moon and see it with their own eyes. Now, this is something that we can't see here on Earth, and only a few astronauts have ever been able to see the far side of the moon. They're going to take lots of photos, do observations, and probably be able to see the moon and the Earth at the same time, and the Earth will just look like a tiny sphere in the blackness of space. After that, they will start coming back towards the Earth. And again, this will take a few days to get back to the Earth. And eventually, they can get rid of this part, the service module, and be just in the Orion capsule as they come back to Earth. And they'll re-enter through Earth's atmosphere and land in the Pacific Ocean, probably off the coast of California. The entire mission will take about 10 days, and we're going to learn a lot about what we can do for future Artemis missions. So that is the first name I want you to remember, Artemis II. The second name I want you to remember is Jeremy Hansen. Now, Jeremy is one of the 4 astronauts that's going to be on the Artemis II mission. First thing about Jeremy, he looks like Buzz Lightyear. I was lucky. I got to work at the Canadian Space Agency for a year, and closely a couple times with Jeremy, so I can somewhat verify this. He looks like Buzz Lightyear. The second thing, though, he's a Canadian astronaut, and this is one of the really cool things about this mission and the Artemis program. 24 people have gone around the moon during the 60s and 70s. Here are all of them, and maybe you notice a pattern about these people. They're all white dudes. Now, whatever you think about that, you gotta admit, this isn't really representative of all of humanity, and the Artemis program aims to do something about that. There's a lot of firsts happening on the Artemis II mission. We have the commander, his name is Reed Wiseman, but we have the first woman to go into deep space and around the moon. Her name is Christina Cook. We have the first person of color. His name is Victor Glover. And we have the first non-American to go to the moon, Jeremy Hansen. So Jeremy grew up in London, Ontario, and he grew up to be a fighter pilot. And this will be his first space mission. He was chosen by the Canadian Space Agency in 2009 to be an astronaut. So by the time the Artemis II mission happens, he will have waited 17 years to fly his first mission. Now, Jeremy gets sick and he can't make the mission. He does have a backup. Her name is Jenny Gibbons, and she's also a Canadian astronaut. She grew up in Calgary, Alberta, and she's doing all the same training that Jeremy is doing. Now, it's unlikely that this will have to happen, but it's always good to have a backup. It has happened before, and it's good that we have a Canadian backup. It means we're guaranteed to have a Canadian astronaut fly around the moon. Now, if you're a Canadian, you're going to hear the name Jeremy Hansen a lot over the next year, and that's the second name I want you to remember from this video. So what is the point of Artemis II? Well, Artemis I, we wanted to test the Orion capsule without anybody in it. It went around the moon, came back, everything went mostly good. Artemis II, we want to try it with people inside to make sure the capsule actually works, but we're not landing on the moon. That is Artemis III's mission. On Artemis III, we're going to try to land on the south pole of the moon, where we've never been before, and where we think there is frozen ice, which we can use for water, for drinking, and for fuel way, way, way down the line. So this is sort of a test rehearsal of things that'll happen in the future. We've learned to live long-term in space, but only close to the Earth. We've had the ISS for about 25 years, and people live up there for 6 months, a year at a time. It's pretty normal now. On the moon, it's a different story. During the Apollo missions, the most time we ever spent on the moon was 3 days. Collectively, through all the missions, we only spent about 12 and a half days on the moon as a species. We want to learn how to live long-term on the moon, weeks at a time, months at a time. And the Artemis II mission sets us up for future Artemis missions to be able to do that. There's a few extraordinary things that come to mind for me when I think about this mission. First thing, as a Canadian, this is super cool. Every other human that has gone around the moon and seen the Earth in its entirety has been an American. Canada will be the second nation to pull off this feat. History could have gone so many different ways. The Soviet Union could have sent a cosmonaut into deep space and around the moon during the 60s and 70s. They didn't. NASA could have chosen a Japanese astronaut or a European astronaut, but they didn't. They chose a Canadian partner. And the Chinese, they are trying to get to the moon, and they're making a lot of progress, but they haven't done it in time. Canada will be the second country to send a person around the moon. All 4 of the astronauts that are going to be on the Artemis II mission are born after 1972. None of them saw Neil Armstrong's first steps on the moon or our last steps on the moon in 1972 with Apollo 17. It's also going to be the first time in over 53 years that human eyes will get to look at Earth in its entirety. Over the last 53 years, we've gone up into space, but we haven't gone high enough up to see the Earth in full, in its entirety. On the Artemis II mission, we'll be far enough away that the astronauts will be able to look outside their window and be able to see the Earth in its entirety. We haven't been able to do that since 1972. Lastly, I think this is going to change how we look at the moon as a society. For the first time in over 50 years, humans will look up at the moon while people are going around it. During the 10 days in 2026, while this mission is going on, we're going to look at the moon differently. So, Artemis II and Jeremy Hansen. I hope you remember these names and this video gets you pumped for their upcoming mission. Thanks for watching.